The white coat ceremony was in full swing. Dean Harris stood at the podium, a stack of graduate messages in his hand. He adjusted his glasses and read the next card, then paused. Thank you to the friends who flew across the country when family did not. The hall froze. For 3 full seconds, no one breathed.
They actually heard it. Everyone just heard what I wrote.
Beside her, Lily squeezed her hand, her grip the only thing keeping Rebecca upright. Then a single clap from the back row broke the silence, and the room detonated into applause. Rebecca stared ahead, tears streaming, a bitter smile twisting her lips. But the real story had started 2 days earlier, 2 days before the white coat ceremony in a cramped apartment. In her cramped apartment, Rebecca folded her white coat into a garment bag, a ritual she had done alone for 7 years. Her phone buzzed on a stack of textbooks. Carolyn's name lit up the screen.
Rebecca, honey, I am so sorry. Something has come up. It is Brandon. His fraternity is hosting a charity beer pong tournament. He asked first, and we promise. You understand, right? You have always been so independent, and it is for charity.
I understand.
She ended the call before her voice could betray her, and the room fell silent.
He asked first. That is the only explanation I will ever get.
She lifted the garment bag and hung it on the hook, next to the white coat that had cost her night shifts and student loans. 2 days until the ceremony, and 1 empty line on a form she had not yet opened. The empty seats were not a new wound. Rebecca had been invisible for as long as she could remember. At 10, she held up a handmade certificate, beaming. Her father glanced over only long enough to say, "Not now, sweetheart." By 16, she was clearing tables at a late-night diner to save for college applications. By 22, she had memorized the library's closing times better than her parents' phone numbers. Now, 2 days before the ceremony, the silence in the apartment was familiar. Then her phone buzzed again. Lily's name appeared.
Rebecca? I just landed. I'll be there in 20.
Lily, you didn't have to fly all the way out here.
Are you kidding? I'm not missing you getting that white coat.
For the first time that day, Rebecca smiled, but the blinking cursor on her laptop still waited. That night, after Lily had gone to her hotel, Rebecca sat alone with her laptop. The graduation form glowed on the screen, a single text field and a submit button.
She stared at the empty space where other graduates would type grateful messages to their parents.
Then she began to type, "Thank you to the friends who flew across the country when family did not."
Her hand trembled over the trackpad. It was petty, but it was the truest sentence she had ever written.
She clicked, submit. The page refreshed. The line was locked for the ceremony. She shut the laptop and sat in the dark, her heart pounding. The words were out, a quiet bullet aimed at empty seats. Tomorrow she would wear the white coat, and the dean would read her sentence to an entire auditorium. The next morning, Rebecca left her apartment without a single call or text from the people who had raised her. Outside the grand auditorium, Lily stood with a bright sign, her smile the first warm thing Rebecca had seen all week.
You look like the doctor you already are. Let's get inside.
As they took their seats near the front, Rebecca's eyes drifted to the reserved section. 2 seats sat empty, a small white sign with their names untouched.
They didn't even bother to call and cancel.
Hey, your life is starting today. No room for dead weight.
The lights dimmed, and Dean Harris approached the podium, a leather folder of cards in hand.
Before we begin, I have the privilege of sharing a few lines submitted by this year's graduates.
Rebecca's breath caught. The stack was thick. Her sentence, her quiet rebellion was tucked somewhere inside. The first few cards drew polite laughter. A dental student thanked his cat. A neurosurgery candidate quoted a movie. Then Dean Harris turned over the next card and his expression shifted.
Thank you to the friends who flew across the country when family did not.
The hall went so quiet Rebecca could hear the fluorescent hum overhead. In her chest, her heart threw itself against her ribs. Then a slow clap rose from the back corner, unsteady and defiant. Others picked it up, and within seconds the entire auditorium was on its feet, a standing ovation for a line, not a person. Lily's fingers dug into Rebecca's palm. Rebecca couldn't tell if she was crying or laughing. The dean cleared his throat, but the applause had already written the headline. A bitter smile finally broke through Rebecca's tears. After the ceremony, classmates surrounded Rebecca. Some hugged her, others just stared. A few whispered about the empty seats. A kind-faced woman asked if she was all right. A third-year student held out his phone. The clip was already on a medical forum.
It's out there. Everyone can see it.
For a split second, relief flooded her chest. The public had seen the truth.
That was iconic. Now let's get you home before you get trampled.
On the curb, Rebecca pulled Lily into a fierce hug, her throat too tight for words. Back in her apartment, she opened her laptop and watched the view counter spin upward.
This is not just a ceremony anymore. Who else will see it?
The relief began to curdle into a cold knot in her stomach. That evening, Rebecca's phone lit up with a family group chat notification. Emma had shared the clip. "Look what our cousin did at her white coat ceremony. So proud." Then Carolyn's reply appeared, sharp and unguarded. "Rebecca, how could you embarrass us like this? After everything we've done for you." David's message followed, blunt and saturated with disappointment. "This is not how we raised you." Other relatives piled on, accusations and hurt emojis cluttering the screen.
She scrolled, each post a fresh sting, but underneath it a cold satisfaction hummed. They couldn't ignore her now.
Her thumb paused over the screen, then she silenced the app, the angry buzz dying into nothing. The screen went dark, but the damage was already public, and she knew it would not stay inside that chat for long. The next morning, Rebecca's phone lit up before her alarm. 17 missed calls, 42 unread texts. Most were from her mother, and the few she glimpsed contained no apology, only fresh blame. Carolyn had taken the fight to her own timeline, posting a status dripping with passive-aggressive grief. "Some children only think about themselves, but we will always love her anyway."
So now I am a selfish child. Love with a knife attached.
Then her phone rang. Emma's name flashed, and something in her gut twisted.
What do you want, Emma? More congratulations on my selfishness.
No, that is not. I posted that video because I was proud of you. I did not think they would all attack like that.
You are proud? After they shredded me in the group chat?
You are the only one in this family who actually did something. I'm sorry they are too blind to see it.
After the call, Emma sat staring at her phone, still troubled. She opened a private chat and forwarded the ceremony clip to Uncle Frank. Frank rarely checked social media, but Emma's message had a subject line that stopped him cold. He clicked the link and watched the clip in silence, his face unreadable as the dean's voice filled his quiet office. By the time the applause started, his jaw was set. He rewound and listened again, then closed the laptop with a sharp click. He picked up the office phone and dialed his brother's number without a moment's hesitation. "David, I just watched something that made me sick. You want to explain why my niece's graduation line sounded like a funeral?"
"Frank, it was a charity tournament. Brandon asked first. Rebecca said she understood. It was not a big deal."
"Not a big deal? That girl has been fighting alone since she was 10, and you just handed her the proof." David stammered something about sacrifice and fairness, but the words crumbled before Frank's heavy silence. Frank ended the call without another word and stared at the frozen image of his niece, applauded for saying what no one in his family had dared. Later, a voicemail from Frank arrived. She almost deleted it, but curiosity won. "Rebecca, it's your Uncle Frank. Call me back. I need to hear your voice." She stared at the screen, then pressed call before her nerve failed. "Rebecca, I'm glad you called."
Is this about the video? Because I'm not apologizing.
"Apologize? No. I called to say I'm proud of you. That line told me more than your father has in 40 years.
I didn't think anyone in this family would ever say that to me. Thank you.
Then they haven't been paying attention. Now, how are you holding up financially? I know med school doesn't pay for itself."
It's tight. The Step 3 exam fees are coming up, and I've been selling everything I can. But I'll figure it out.
Frank said nothing for a long moment, and the silence carried a weight that felt like a promise. After the call, Frank sat in silence, then opened his desk drawer and withdrew a leather checkbook. "She has fought every battle alone. Not this one." He uncapped a pen and filled out the check with deliberate slowness. The next morning, his assistant sealed the check inside an unassuming envelope and mailed it without fanfare. In her apartment, Rebecca silenced another call from Carolyn and forced herself to study, one eye on the door. 3 days later, an envelope with no return company logo slipped through her mail slot. She tore it open, and a check fluttered onto her lap, the ink bold and real. She stared at the figure, her breath caught in her throat.
He didn't just say he was proud. He put his name on it.
That evening, she registered for the USMLE Step 3, the cursor blinking on a paid confirmation. The next week, Frank called David again, his voice low and tight.
I'm not calling to argue. I'm calling so you'll think about what you're holding on to.
What's that supposed to mean? You've been talking to Rebecca?
I've been listening. That's more than you've done. Your priorities are hanging out for the world to see.
David's mouth opened, but no real defense came. A cold unease settled in his chest.
What did he say? You look like you've seen a ghost.
He said, he told me to think about what I'm holding on to. That's all.
Frank hung up and sat motionless for a full minute, then called his estate lawyer. An appointment was set. The new will would not mention David.
He had given David every chance to see. Now the paper would say what his brother refused to hear.
The voicemails began arriving late on a Tuesday, each one trembling with a desperation Rebecca had never heard.
Rebecca, it's Dad. I know I handled things badly. Please call me back. We need to fix this.
She let the message play to the end, the sound of his breathing heavy in her silent room. Then she deleted it.
Rebecca, I am begging you. Your mother is in pieces. This has gone too far. Please, just a short call.
By the fifth message, she was pressing delete before he finished his plea.
He's been calling non-stop, apologizing. It's the first time he's ever said sorry for anything.
And? Are you going to let him back in?
No, I deleted every message. I won't be pulled back into that guilt. I have a residency to land.
Her phone buzzed again, David's name flashing, but she silenced it and buried herself in the residency forms. The family group chat churned again. Carolyn's new message dripped with self-pity. I sacrificed everything for my children, and this is the thanks I get. Meanwhile, Brandon posted a gallery of beer pong photos, captioned with a grinning emoji and the words, "Best charity event ever."
Emma saw the posts side by side on her screen, and guilt twisted her stomach. Rebecca, I'm so sorry. I thought sharing the video would make them proud, but I just poured gasoline on your fire.
Stop. You didn't start this. They've been burning that bridge for years.
Frank, reading every message, typed nothing. His silence was louder than any reply. Then Carolyn directed her anger at Emma. And you, sharing that video for clout, some cousin you are.
Emma read the accusation and felt the family's invisible loyalty test tighten around her throat.
Don't you dare let them make you the villain. You're the only one who saw me.
The chat quieted, but the fault lines had cracked too wide to ever close cleanly. On a gray Thursday morning, Frank walked into his lawyer's office carrying a single leather folder.
David's name no longer appears on a single line. The girl who walked alone now walks as my sole heir.
He signed each page without pause, the pen scratching in the thick silence.
Make sure the original stays sealed until I authorize. Send the copy to my brother.
Back in his study, Frank sat alone and drafted a letter to David in his own handwriting. I have removed you from my will. Your daughter Rebecca is my sole beneficiary. You may reflect on what you traded to deserve this. He folded the letter once, then twice, and slid it into a heavy envelope. The next morning, his assistant handed the envelope to a courier. No call, no warning, just a signature on a tracking form.
The ache in my chest isn't regret. It's the relief of finally drawing a line.
The envelope left his office that afternoon, a silent missile aimed at the only address David had ever called home. 2 days later, the envelope landed on David's doorstep, his own name scrawled in a hand he knew too well. He turned it over, his thumb tracing the seal, a cold dread settling in his stomach.
David, are you going to open it or stare at it all day? It's from Frank, isn't it?
He tore the envelope, his eyes moved once, then again, and his face lost all color.
What does it say? Let me see.
The words were few and merciless. I have removed you from my will. Your daughter Rebecca is my sole beneficiary.
He can't do this. That selfish girl has turned him against us. She did this on purpose.
Turned him? Carolyn, we didn't go to her graduation for a beer pong match. What did we expect?
They argued into the afternoon, their voices rising and falling like a storm. But no words could change the ink on that paper. Across town, Rebecca's phone remained silent. She flipped through residency brochures, unaware that the ground beneath her parents had just caved in. Her phone buzzed on the desk and David's name flashed. She almost ignored it, but something in the tremor of the screen made her answer.
Rebecca, please. I need you to listen. I'm begging you. Frank sent a letter. He took me out of the will. He made you his sole heir. You have to talk to him. Please, Rebecca. Please.
Wait, what? Dad, what are you talking about?
He disinherited me. Everything goes to you. You have to fix this. Tell Frank I didn't mean it. I'll make it up to you, I swear.
Dad, I didn't know about this, but it's between you and Frank. I can't change your choices.
She ended the call, her father's broken voice still ringing. Then she found Frank's contact and pressed dial.
Rebecca, I've been expecting your call.
He's a wreck, Frank. He said you cut him out. Is it true?
It's true. He has had decades to see you. I simply moved the legacy to the one who earned it. You don't owe him a rescue.
I'm not going to rescue him, but Frank, this is a lot to process.
I didn't expect you to rescue anyone. I just want you to know that someone sees you clearly.
I appreciate that more than you know. I just don't want this to be about money. That's all my family ever measured me with.
Then we won't measure it in money. We'll measure it in time. Come for Christmas. Let's start there.
Christmas. I'd really like that.
The words were simple, but the invitation was the first real one she had received from a family member in years.
For the first time, a family invitation didn't feel like a setup for disappointment.
They talked a while longer about the weather, her residency applications, the kind of easy conversation that builds bridges. After the call, she sat still, the weight of the last weeks shifting into something almost like peace. Then she pulled her suitcase from the closet and started packing for a trip she was actually looking forward to. In the weeks before Christmas, Rebecca started her preliminary residency, the hospital halls now her daily rhythm. David's calls dwindled but never fully stopped. She let them go to voicemail and deleted each without listening.
Rebecca, I'm just calling to see if you're okay. Please just let me know you're safe.
She erased the message with a single swipe and slipped her phone into her white coat, the finality almost comfortable now. On her first free evening, she met Lily at their favorite cafe, the conversation spilling easily over coffee.
I haven't felt this calm in years. Frank actually listens. He's the first person in my family who ever did.
You deserve that, Beck. You deserve people who see you.
On the walk home, Rebecca felt a lightness she hadn't known she was missing. The old anger had shrunk to a scar. The night before her flight, she double-checked her suitcase, a small wrapped gift for Frank tucked between her clothes. As the airplane lifted off the next morning, she watched the city shrink and felt, for the first time, that she was flying towards something real. That evening, Frank's front door opened before she could knock, and he stood there in a soft red sweater, the picture of home.
Come in, Rebecca. The fire's been waiting for you.
Over a quiet dinner, Frank shared stories of the family she barely knew, leaving out the bitterness but making her feel rooted.
I never knew this side of the family. It feels like I'm meeting them for the first time.
After dinner, Frank reached beside the tree and handed her a small box, wrapped simply in brown paper. Inside lay a delicate silver locket, worn smooth with age, the initials of a grandmother she had never met engraved on the back.
She would have been so proud of you. I thought it was time this came back to the right hands.
Rebecca closed the locket in her palm, then lifted her glass. Frank met it with his own.
This is what family is. Not an apology, not a debt, just a door that finally opens.
The fire crackled on as they sat side by side, and for the first time in her life the silence felt full. Months later, the residency halls had become her second home, the white coat a second skin. On a busy shift, David's name flickered on her phone. She silenced it, swiped the notification away, and kept walking. The voicemail joined the others unplayed, a quiet archive of a door she had chosen not to open. On her desk at home, a new frame held a photo of Frank, his hand resting on her shoulder, both smiling in front of a Christmas tree.
He showed up. He actually showed up.
The line she had written for the ceremony still lived somewhere on the internet, but she no longer needed to read it.
Thank you to the friends who flew across the country when family did not. I meant it then. I live it now.
In a pause between patients, she allowed herself a deep breath, the kind that reaches the bottom of your lungs. She had no map for the future, but she had finally found the people who would walk it with her. And that, more than any white coat or inheritance, was the only thank you she had ever needed.